Alright, so it's still Thursday, and everybody's done for today. And I'm going to show you guys the last look of Derby Hill. What we take Bob Mates Park over at 18th and 18th and Cooks Lane, and we turn this into Derby Hill. I'm driving up to it right now. Sorry, I had a couple meetings today. Yes, I've changed clothes. No making fun of me for that. So, we are coming up on Derby Hill right now. I'm going to get out and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like and what all these hard-working volunteers have done to make these kids' dreams a reality with being able to race the car. Got the wellness center, you know, Ray and all the men and women from the Optimist Club have just done a phenomenal job. And I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm actually going to get out of my Jeep. I'm going to try to get into an area so you guys can see Derby Hill. And here we go. All right, ready to see Derby Hill, everybody? Now, tomorrow we'll have the other stuff. The road's still not closed yet. But, as you can see, wellness centers have been going. All of the tires. And they've got the sides on, the tubes down. All those black tubes, as you can see. That'll be the pits. So all the way down the hill. I'm all the way back up. All right. So, tomorrow, come on out and see the Super Kids race. Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Put my seatbelt on before I do anything else. All right. So, come on out, watch these wonderful Super Kids. It will be a blast, okay? All these wonderful helpers, all these volunteers. I really haven't done much at all. I just kind of come out here and, you know, just, I love what everybody's done with it. And it's not mine. I don't want anybody to ever think that. I don't take credit for it. I'm just showing you guys what some of these awesome volunteers do. I do the same with Fishing for Freedom. I do the same with the Marine Corps League. I do the same with the American Legion. I do the same with the Cardboard Boat Regatta coming up. I do the same with the Kids Fishing Derby for Fishing for Freedom. I'll do the same with the fair. I'll do the same with the horses. I just want to show you all these great people and all the different things that people do and how much they enjoy themselves and how they have fun with each other, and then to put on something that, you know, I know the people doing it might not always seem like it's that big of a deal, but it is. When you take 109 special needs kids that don't have things for themselves, that's motivating. And somebody asked me, like, we thought your channel was supposed to be, this is motivating. It's motivating to help people. It's motivating to get out there, volunteer, doing something for others that's beyond yourself, doing something and ask nothing in return, making a difference in people's lives that you'll never meet, you'll never know, but knowing that somebody is going to appreciate what you do. That's what it's all about. It's all about these special needs kids. It's all about the kids on Saturday for the super stock and stock. It's about volunteering. It's about getting your feet wet. It's about getting your hands dirty, getting out there and giving them their dream. You help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. Now, we don't always know what we want. We always don't know what we need. But when I go out there and I see people like the Optimist Club members, the men and women of the Optimist Club, I see Ben Marth from the news, and I see all these other people that are from KZZK and Y101, and I see Parish Trucking, and I see Dean Mountain Farms, and I see the Abbey, and I see Gabe from the Abbey out there, and I see all these kids having a good time, and I see these awesome members of the Future Farmers of America from Liberty and the surrounding areas doing things that, you know, we always ask ourselves, how can we make a difference in our lives and the lives of people around us? Well, these people don't have to ask those questions. That's what they're doing. You know, I'm part of the Marine Corps League. I went and talked with Jim Gale and Glenn Sanders today from Mississippi Valley Hunters and Fishermen for several events we got coming up. But when you do enough for other people, eventually you'll be rewarded. But if you're doing it out of greed and money and selfishness, and you're not able to think outside the box, and you're just there to live life, and you're just grumpy, then you need to go out and do something more. I lost my buddy TJ the other day to cancer, okay? Now, I could lock myself away. No, what I chose to do is he loved to fish, loved to hunt, and everything else. So we're getting several benefits up and going to benefit him by having everywhere from memorials to using the Marine Killer Legion. My buddy Jesus' son, you know, has special needs and has had to have surgery and everything else. So we're going to get events started up for him. And everybody's like, well, we don't have the time, the money, the manpower. Yes, you do. Here's just it. You might not have the money, but somebody else might. You may have the time, they may have the money. You put it together, you make a perfect piece to a puzzle. Optimist Club does this year after year. Fishing for Freedom does it year after year. Okay? You know, look at what the Gus Macker, what it achieved and aspired to and became. Yes, it went downhill, not because of what it is. It's just because there wasn't enough teams anymore. Groups go up and down. I get that. But you need to get out of your house. Go do something more with yourself. Make your life better. And don't rely on anybody else to do it for you. But do your best to make somebody else's life better. And in turn, your life will be better. You are awesome. You matter. You make a difference. Don't let anybody else dictate to you. Don't let drugs dictate to you. You know, what you got to do is you got to take control of your life and make things better. But you make the decisions in life. Yes, I have one job making money where I help people with legal and identity theft, and I help military and truckers and businesses, and I do employee benefit. That's great, but that's the only thing. Everything else I do is 100% volunteer. I ask nothing in return. I take no money for it. I do the best I can. In fact, I give some of my own money to do the best I can with what I've got. I bring my friends into town. Yes, I know Tim didn't get a chance to come in town this time. I love him to death anyway. He's my Marine Corps brother. I wish he would have, but that's okay. I forgive him. It's not a big deal. Because I'm going to do it again next year and the year after that. And I'm going to keep doing other events. Okay? We're getting ready to do a big cornhole competition. We're getting ready to deal with horses here pretty soon. We got the Great Cardboard Boat Regatta coming up. We're going to benefit kids and families. You know, and we're taking them around other veterans. And my job is not always about veterans. It's about kids. It's people with special needs, disabilities. One of my best friends, who was way older than me, Dr. Patrick McGinley, he had muscular dystrophy, and they told him years ago he'd be in a wheelchair within 20 years. The day he died, he still was not in a wheelchair, and we're talking about years and years later. He refused to let somebody diagnose him with a problem. He wasn't going to let some doctor tell him where he was going to be because he was lazy. He chose to live outside his means. He chose to do good by others. Yes, he was very much into politics, and his friends come from all over. Doesn't matter what you know, he loved to argue politics, and I loved him for it. It wasn't my politics. He wasn't military. He loved the Boy Scouts, you know. He loved people that, he just loved you for who you are. And yes, he had muscular, but he was a doctor of education. But you want to know something? The guy had muscular dystrophy, still was able to go to Russia a couple times to go and see the different parts of Russia. And he had exchange students from all over the world living with him and everything else. And he took care of his mother. And his mother's got Alzheimer's. So now I'm looking at doing some stuff with Alzheimer's because I watched her watch her son every 5 minutes wake up and realize her son's dying just to forget again, to see her son dying again. And that was heartbreaking for me. I see these kids over here, the super kids over here, and I watch how hard my good friend Ray, his wife Gloria, I watch Bob, and I watch Stacy and Michelle, and all these different people every day, 365 days out of the year, working to make it better the next year just by maybe one or two things, or maybe adding more cars, you know, get more sponsors so every kid's guaranteed to race, whether they're handicapped or not, because remember, the next day we don't have the non-handicapped, and they go out of their way to do all this. That's motivating to me. Me getting on here telling you that this is motivating is phenomenal, and it keeps me happy. It keeps me working with my hands to keep, you know, idle hands, the devil's playground, right? Ooh. And I just want others to know how great they are for what they do. That's the spirit of a community coming together. It's not politics on TV. It's not fake news. It's a community that no matter what the situation is, what a person's religion, color, creed, race, culture, they come together and they help each other out. Tomorrow we're helping out kids that don't get a Super Bowl, and we're giving them one. We're helping out kids that don't get to play soccer, that don't get to play basketball and sports or run track or cross country, or that will never be able to drive a car. Kids that will never be able to learn beyond a 8th grade level because of conditions. Kids that we don't know if they're going to be here a year from now due to tumors and cancer and and childhood diseases, but they fight and beat the odds. If you watch a child, they beat the odds when adults give up. Kids don't. That's what we're doing tomorrow. We're watching these kids have their Super Bowl. We're watching them have their NASCAR. They're having their sport tomorrow. And it's them and one other child in that car with them. It's no adults. It's them and one other child that races the next day. They're becoming bonds. Like Fishing for Freedom, where the fisherman goes out with the warrior and develops a bond with that warrior. I tell you right now, my buddy Jesse Shoemake, I love him to death. He was my boater when I went out. I was his warrior. He was my boater. That was years ago. We went crappie. Since then, I've gone cat and bass and stuff like that. But Jesse was the first. And I formed a bond with him. He's a good friend of mine. Now, what else does Quincy do? Well, you have to come and see. I love my town. I also love my business, and I love my friends. And anybody, I'm real with the people I know. I'm not fake to anybody. I don't need to be fake to anybody. I might use tact. I might not always agree with my friends or even my family. But I love them just the same. And I may lose contact with them every once in a while. But I'm always praying for them. I'm always wishing them the best. I'm always celebrating them because they're number one. I see my buddy Bob on here right now. I think he's freaking awesome. You know, I met him in Las Vegas. I'm not even a gambler or a drinker. Walked to the room 3 o'clock in the morning one day after getting off a plane with only an hour of sleep. Had to get back to a convention. Had to go on. Been friends with him ever since. And he's from North Carolina. I forgive him for that. It's okay. He could be a redneck. I'm just kidding. But Bob's a great guy. Or my friend Josh on here. Josh is from Florida. Yeah, my good old friend Josh from Florida. Great guy. Larry Embry. I've known this guy for years. And you know how I met him? Through Dr. McGinley. Taylor, I'm thinking I know her. And I'm going to feel bad when she tells me, Jeff, you know who I am. And you're right. Andrea Hayner, I know her. Tim Sanchez, I know all these people. Because I've got friends from all over the place. Why? Because they are awesome people. I don't care what their pasts are. I don't care what their failures are. All I care is that they're happy, they're safe, they're making it in the world, and if they're not, they're looking for ways of doing it, and they've never given up on themselves. And I'll help them any way I can. They're either advice, with prayers, with a shoulder to cry on. I got 2 ears. I never learned to listen, but I got 2 ears. I don't know what they're used for because I'm so busy talking half the time. I know half of y'all are dying laughing at that one. But know this. Every day you matter. Every day you're important. You can fight off any addiction you have by having self-confidence. You can make it. It's going to be hurtful. It's going to be challenging, but you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. If somebody tells you you can't, you should never listen to them because they've already given up. The people that say you can't do something, you shouldn't do something, they've already given up. You need to be better than them and never give up. You want to get that job? Write a better resume. Get the classes in school to do it. Go talk to the right people. You can do it. Don't let somebody tell you they can or cannot do it. I got told I couldn't do half the stuff I do today. And I've done it. And I've proven wrong and wrong again. I made a lot of people mad because I keep proving them wrong. They just don't like to be wrong. They just want everybody to think that they know the future. No. No one makes my future. No one makes your future but you and but me. You're in charge. Nobody else. Be better. You are better. You're awesome. I never thought I met anybody great. I met somebody pretty great the other day. Life is what you make it. You sink or swim. If you quit kicking, you'll die because you're going to go under the water. But if you keep kicking, even when the cramps come in, and you keep kicking, even though you think you can kick no more, and you're crying, and the pain, and it hurts, and it hurts, and it hurts, and you keep going, you keep kicking, there's no stopping. You just keep going. You fight through the pain. It's like running a race. You have to get to the finish line because the start line's just the same distance back. So why not just go to the finish line? Fight through the pain. So you got to stop for a second. So what? You just don't quit. You matter. You're important. Tomorrow is a race for these kids that I love. And I see them throughout the year too. And I get to know them because my daughter drives them down the race track. And my daughter, she loves doing this. This year her cousins are going to get to drive them down too. Braden and Maddie are going to get to drive them. Okay, Ava and Naughty are going to get to drive them. Our neighbors that are great people. You know, all these great kids. There's going to be a whole bunch more. Also, Luke's grandkids get to drive kids down this year. Now they're starting to look forward to driving these kids. The super race. It's this awesome race tomorrow. They're looking forward because they form bonds. Just like fishing for freedom with warriors and fishermen, this forms bonds between children that maybe at times they may have been a bully, but guess what? When they get to know each other, they're no longer bullies. Now they got a friend. When you put kids together that are kids, it forms friendships that last forever. These kids don't have cooties. These kids have as much love to give as everybody else. And you know what? When you put your kids around these kids, your kids will learn more than anybody else. And they're going to learn to do the right thing for the right reason. And they're going to learn that just like everybody else, we're human. We all got our positives. We all got our negatives. We just sometimes do it in a different way. My name is Jeffrey Jansen. I may not know if I matter or not to somebody, but in my heart I know when I do stuff, it will matter eventually to somebody. And all I've got to do is make a difference in one person's life. I'll never know who that person is, but I'm hoping that I make a difference in your life. I'm hoping that maybe something I say will get you to think outside the box, that'll make you not feel so selfish or, you know, want to retreat into a hole somewhere. I'm hoping that if you're depressed, you'll get out of your depression and come see some of the greatest stuff that's out there. I'm hoping by doing these fun skits and just constantly going on here and trying to let you know you matter, eventually it'll sink in and you'll get out and try some of this stuff. If you don't, that's nothing I can do about it, except tell you about it. Hi, Larry. Be better today than who you were yesterday. Be brilliant tomorrow. Be outstanding the next day. Be freaking tubular the day after. Whatever you gotta be. Be you. Look yourself in the mirror. Look at your dead center eye. When I'm doing this, I'm looking myself in the eye and I'm saying, you matter. You are important. You make a difference in people's lives. You may not think you're worth anything, but to me, each one of you is worth everything. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. I'm going to go inside and get a shower. Night, everybody.